My name is NIKOLAJ BENDIX SKYUM LARSEN. I'm a Danish artist based in Paris. In 2011, I was invited to make a work for Thessaloniki Biennial, that's in Greece. I'd read numerous articles about migrants dying in the Aegean Sea, trying to get across the sea from Turkey into Greece on boats. So I decided to make a work that focused on the people who die trying to reach Europe. And I wanted to create like a monument, an artwork that was a material, was objects. And I decided to make this work called Ode to the Perished. And I made it out of a material called concrete canvas. It's a canvas that looks like fabric. And it's a canvas that has a cement powder at its center so that you can drape it like you can fabric. And then when you spray water on it, it goes rock hard. Well, in many of these newspaper articles or news reports or whatever you see about this topic, you often see how they find the dead bodies and drape them in fabric. So I made a series of 12 body bags and I put them into the sea for a while to develop a surface. The Aegean Sea, the sea that has taken the lives of so many migrants. To develop a surface of marine organisms like barnacles and mussels and seaweed and stuff that grows on things underwater. It's almost like jewelry, it's almost like, it's this really beautiful surface that the objects acquired by being underwater for an amount of time. And then they were exhibited in a beautiful space called Yeni Cami. It's a space that has functioned as a synagogue and as a church and as a mosque. It's just a very spiritual place and it has this beautiful dome, and the way I installed it was that they were hung above you, almost like the spirits of, or the souls of the dead migrants. A couple of years ago I was invited to do a residency with an Italian arts organization called Quartz. Last summer and the summer before, you heard about all these migrants that come from Libya and Tunisia to Italy, Lampedusa especially, and also Sicily and the southern coast of Calabria. I saw this press photo of numerous bodies lined up on a floor in a big space, of dead bodies in body bags, made very, very similar to how I made my body bags out of concrete canvas. So I thought it would be interesting to make a new series of these body bag sculptures. Like I did in Greece, I wanted to put them in water for a while to develop this surface of marine organisms. And we constructed a big raft that was anchored to the ground of the sea. And underneath the raft, all these sculptures were hung to develop the surface. And that was all well and good, and they would hang there for some months, and then they would be taken up and prepared for to be exhibited. And then about a month into this process, this crazy storm, these gale force winds and crazy current in the sea just happened one night. The raft got completely destroyed and the sculptures disappeared. And I lost everything. I was very, very shocked actually. I was like, oh, I've lost everything, and I called friends and emailed friends and colleagues, and I didn't quite know how bad the situation was. So one of my assistants, Giuseppe, oh yeah, he can film underwater. So I asked him if he could produce a little report if he could film underwater the situation. And there were bits of the raft that was anchored to the seabed that was still floating around, and there were a couple of sculptures attached to the raft still. And that was about it. And then I started thinking maybe there's something poetic and interesting and in the fact that the same forces of nature that puts migrants in peril and too often kills them in the sea, in the Mediterranean, completely smashed my artwork about this very topic. I asked Giuseppe if he could keep filming, keep searching for these sculptures that I had lost, and keep filming underwater. There he was in Italy and I was in France, and I directed him via text messages or emails. And he was just really good at responding to my direction. He managed to find and film maybe 20 or so sculptures. And then they would be rescued by the sculptures, by a team of divers. But it took so long before the divers actually came that we managed to lose some that we had filmed and already found. So at the end we found 14 of the 50 sculptures, but at the same time we had all this amazing footage that I have edited into the current state of the work, which is an installation that's installed in Istanbul at a fantastic gallery called Salt. And what you see there is 5 incredibly large screens of this kind of abstract, poetic, very beautiful footage filmed underwater. I see it as 5 different searches for the sculptures. And then we have also exhibited a number of the sculptures we have found. None of the sculptures developed any of that type of surface that I was after. But you can really see how they have been smashed against rocks, and they have deep cuts in them, and some are broken, some are ripped open. And this is nature that has really shown its brutal and aggressive side, and it's the imprint of that is in these body bag sculptures. And it tells, I feel, the story of the sad destiny of so many migrants. People often ask me, do I feel guilty or bad about the fact that I am a white, middle-class European who make work about immigrants who have nothing or have drowned, have died in trying to reach Europe. And I don't feel bad about doing it. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel that I exploit their situation. I feel currently in Europe there's such a hostile way of talking about the immigrants. There's such a negativity. Right-wing parties are storming ahead. So many negative connotations in relation to the topic of migration. And one thing I do is, like when I work with these people, is we develop genuine friendships, genuine great moments for them and for us. And my work triggers off discussions. They're used in education. And I think I may add some quite human nuances to a discussion that's mainly about money and numbers, I may be slightly more open and friendly in this sort of xenophobic discussion. I don't necessarily have an ambition of changing, politics on a big scale, but I have an ambition of changing or affecting the minds of the people who see my work.